Do you know what the 4570, the 3030, and the 762 by 39 have in common? They are incapable of taking down a deer cleanly at 400 yards. The 6.5 Grendel certainly can. This is a little monster. In 2003, when Alexander Arms was presenting the 6.5 Grendel, it was still going supersonic at 1200 yards. A monster was born. Hi everyone, Adrian here, welcome to Push and Grit. Today we are taking a deep look at the 6.5 Grendels, and I'd like to do some comparison with other cartridges, and also covering what this little guy is actually bringing into the hunting world. The 6.5 Grendel is well known in the AR-15 circles, and people have been hunting successfully with it over the past 13 years. This was commercially available in 2010. Manufacturers are starting to propose now bolt-action rifles, and I think hunters should really take a deep look at what the 6.5 Grendel can do. I had to double-check twice the number because so much potency from such a small cartridge was surprising, at least to say. So it was commercially available in 2010, that's 3 years after the 6.5 Creedmoor, but the 6.5 Creedmoor didn't really pick up until a little bit later. I think it's, weirdly enough, it picks up with the movie American Sniper, apparently, and this is where the sales start. People got interested into long-range shooting, and this is where the 6.5 Creedmoor kind of took off, and along with it, all the other cartridge that were using the 6.5 bullets also benefited from that, right? So what's truly amazed me with the 6.5 Grendel is the efficiency at which, the peak efficiency at which it operates. This puny monster can take down cleanly a deer at 400 yards. You heard that right. And this is mainly due to the high efficiency of the 6.5 bullets. There is something happening at the 6.5 threshold in terms of form, function, drag, ballistic coefficients that makes those little bullets very accurate with a lot of energy downrange. So for example, 6.5 Creedmoor, the 308 at shorter distance beat the 6.5 Creedmoor all day. Except that at long range, the 6.5 Creedmoor starts to get the upper hand, and the reason is ballistic coefficient. 6.5 Grendel use almost the same type of bullets as the 6.5 Creedmoor. You could shoot, as heavy as 156 grain in the Grendel, but I don't think this is where it shines the most. When you start to get heavier bullets, you need more velocity, and this is where the Grendel doesn't have the case capacity to push these heavier bullets to a proper velocity, right? So usually the sweet spot for the Grendel is around 120, 123 grain, maybe 127, depending. I still have some tests to do. Actually, I recently got mine, and it's the Hoa Mini 1500s. I put a US Haptic on top of it. Beautiful rifle. I will not talk about it in this video. I'm still waiting for a stock. I'll talk about it when this build is complete. Why I'm building this rifle is this year I want to try coyote hunting, so that will be my build for this winter. To fully appreciate what the 6.5 Grendel does, you have to understand its size in relation to the other bullets, right? So right here next to it, there is the mighty 4570, and the 6.5 Grendel is a mini action, alright? So it means that the bolt is actually quite small. This is the bolt that comes with it. In comparison with the other bolt, here, for example, at the left of the screen, you have the standard length action. This is from a Mauser, 9.3 by 62. And it's the same bolt that you will find for a 30-06, for example. Next to it, you have a short action. Here, this is a 6.8 Western. Next to it is a 6.5 Creedmoor, and this is the typical length for these actions. And here you can see at the right, this is a 762 by 39, and they're actually the same length. So both are mini actions, they are interchangeable. Of course, the chamber needs to be different, but this bolt could run the 6.5 Grendel. They have the same bolt diameter, bolt face diameter. How does this compare to, caliber that are within the same range, also for the same use? Mainly here, I'm looking at the 6mm, like the 6mm PPC or the 6mm, what was it again? The BR Remington. And it's definitely a better, maybe not on paper, but for a hunting application, the Grendel has the upper hand, right? It's larger diameter, usually also heavier bullets than the PPC or the BR Remington. And if I'm looking at some quick comparison here, let's start with the 22-250, an 80 grain bullet at 3000 feet per second, and the Grendel will do the same exact, no, actually 85 grain bullet at the same speed, 3000. So from here we already have quite the advantage for the Grendel. Knowing that the case capacity of the 22-250 is a little bit larger than the Grendel. Okay. By the way, all the data that I have is from my book, the Modern Reloading. So I'm just using this book to establish a baseline. So going back in the comparison, 6mm PPC 107 grain bullet will go at 2700 feet per second, and for the Grendel, it goes at 26. The same weight bullet will go at 2680, a little bit faster on the 6mm PPC. But knowing that, this is also the heaviest bullet for the 6mm PPC. The Grendel will accept heavier bullets, right? Okay. And the 6mm BR Remington, same weight bullet. In my book, it's rated at 2649, so a little bit lower than what the Grendel is actually capable of, at 2680. And some people like to compare the 240 Winchester with the 6.5 Grendel. I can see why. I personally believe it's unfair just because of the case capacity. The 243 Winchester has a third more case capacity than the Grendel, which of course inevitably, when you can put like 10 grain of powder, 15 grain of powder more than the Grendel, of course you're going to be faster. But let's play the game anyway. For a 150 grain bullet in 223 Winchester, you will have a velocity of 29 and 62 feet per second. And the Grendel will send a 120 grain bullet at about 2500 feet per second. Let's continue the comparison. 762 by 39, how does it compare with the 6.5 Grendel? Here, larger caliber, not so good BC for the 762, therefore downrange, the Grendel will win all day. That's another question. So for 125 grain bullets in the 762 by 39, you'll have like a 2554 feet per second, and the Grendel is going to be at 2508 feet per second for 123 grain bullet. And if we go heavier, because these two cartridges can handle heavier bullets, 150 grain bullets in 7.62-39 is 22 and 91 feet per second. And I don't have data on the 150 grain, but what I do have here is 144 grain bullet will go a little bit faster, 23 by 56. Not bad. And you know that little bullet will just keep on going, retaining maximum energy to take out cleaning a deer at, pretty good range. So who is this for? Of course, no-brainer. If you are AR-15 guy, you wanna hunt. To me, this is a no-brainer. I don't know all the cartridges out there. Maybe if you have more information on some other cartridges that are also really interesting to AR-15 guys, please do chime in. I know nothing about AR-15, and the current state of the laws in Canada are trying to make sure that I will not pursue AR-15 in the future anyway. So now, if you're a hunter but you don't reload and you have nice bolt action available out there, I think Ruger does make one, Hoa that I just showed is making one. I know CZ used to have one back in the days, but they kind of stopped doing it. I don't know. I hope with that bullet picking up, more manufacturer will jump into the fray. if you don't reload, Hornady has great bullet selection for the Grendel, Barnes does, Federal, even Nuzzler has bullets for the 6.5 Grendel. Know that in terms of, bullet selection, there's actually quite a nice selection, okay? The 6.5 Grendel is actually supported by all the other 6.5 calibers out there, so there will always be bullets available for this caliber. Now, if you're a hunter and you reload, then I have something else for you. And this is where it gets even more interesting. I haven't made the test myself. I have to check, to double check that. It's something that I would love to pursue in the future. But Hammer Bullets claims that their bullets will usually go 200 to 300 feet per second faster than conventional bullets. Imagine sending 123 grain bullets at 2800 feet per second. This little guy, this is a massive amount of energy out of such small cartridge. Just sending those bullets out flat, perfect bullet for medium game, varmint. At that level, you start to compete with the 243 Winchester, which is great. Now, if you already have a 243 Winchester, I don't think it's a good deal to diss that rifle and get onto this trend just because. But if you're looking for, if you're in the market for a low, small caliber, high efficiency, low recoil, especially if you wanted to introduce firearm to a young, maybe your son or daughter for hunting, I think it's a great little platform to build upon.